Assalamu alaikum. A revealed phrase that every Muslim knows and uses countlessly every day is what is known as the Basmala. That is saying Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, or its shortened form, Bismillah, a phrase with which every action of every Muslim should start. It is debatably the first ayah of Surah Al-Fatiha, the Qur'an's opening chapter. And with it, our reading of every single one of the Qur'an's other chapters, except one, should actually begin. Moreover, it additionally forms half an ayah in chapter 27, Surah Al-Naml. It is hence no doubt essential for every Muslim to understand the semantic content of the Basmala accurately and comprehensively. Qur'an translations have diversely rendered this phrase, but the vast majority of them have unfortunately been deficient and lacking in precision in their rendering. To clarify this claim, we need first to deconstruct the first three words of the phrase out of five. The three words are Bismillah, Bi and Ism and Allah. The first of these words is Bi, which is always prefixed in writing to the noun that follows it, is a preposition that we shall talk about in seconds. This is followed by the word Ism, which is a noun that simply means name. And the third word is obviously Allah, the name of our Lord. So the three words together produce Bismillah. Now the imprecision of a conventional translation starts with the initial preposition Bi. The vast majority of translators, you see, render this preposition into in, thereby translating these three words with which the Basmala begins into in the name of Allah or of God. This structure, in fact, unfairly and ineptly makes use of a ready-made Christian speech act, as we call it, that is of no relevant signification whatsoever to the Arabic speech act, only because it looks superficially similar to the source text, hence adopted. And by thus ignoring the meaning that the English phrase still validly bears, those who adopt this translation unfortunately relinquish the meaning of the Arabic phrase, which is of crucial significance in Islam. You see, in the Christian tradition, the phrase in the name of appears in the well-known formula in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, which comes from the last command of the resurrected Jesus in the Bible of Matthew 28:19, where Jesus supposedly instructs that people be baptized in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit, meaning by the authority of, in the name meaning by the authority of the Trinity, using the authority given by the three divinities, so to speak. However, the preposition Bi within the Arabic phrase of the Basmala simply means with, and not at all by the authority of. And it contains a naturally understood implicature of I or we begin with. And what does this signify? To purposefully begin with something. It means seeking the blessings of what is thus being begun with. Hence, to a native-speaking Arabic, the extended sense of Bismillah is something like I begin with supplication, seeking the blessings of the name of Allah. The word Allah, by the way, must be realized to be a proper noun as the personal name of our Lord, and is no equivalent to the word God, as some mistranslations suggest by rendering the word Allah into God, even though with a capital G. Well, for one thing, the word God in English has a feminine form, goddess, and a plural form, gods, and that makes it an approximate equivalent to the Arabic word ilah, which does spring from the same morphological root as that of the word Allah. Yet the word ilah, which means a deity of any kind, anything that is worshipped, has a feminine form, ilaha, and a plural form, aliha. Whereas the word Allah is naturally understood by every native Arabic speaker of whatever faith to mean not any God, but the one and only rightful deity, whose name in Arabic for people of all faiths is Allah, a name that uniquely belongs to the Almighty Creator. In fact, in Islam, because of the uniqueness of this name, it is considered our Lord's holiest and most glorious name among all his other names and attributes. And then the Basmala proceeds to give two descriptive names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, namely Ar-Rahman and Ar-Rahim, both of which are intensive forms of the adjective Rahim. Rahman and Rahim, derived from Rahim, meaning merciful. So both of them basically mean exceedingly merciful, even though they have been diversely rendered by different translators into such adjectives as compassionate, beneficent, benevolent, gracious, etc., in juxtaposition to merciful, for the sake of variation and differentiation, I suppose. However, it needs to be clarified that as very few translators have actually attempted to highlight in their renderings, the difference between the two descriptions of Allah's immense mercy is that the morphological derivation of Rahman, as we say, ala wazn fa'lan, Rahman, signifies absolute mercy as a fixed and all-inclusive attribute of Allah's. Whereas the morphological derivation of Rahim, ala wazni fa'il, as we say, Rahim, highlights the divine act of lavishing mercy in abundance. Hence, the attribute Rahman can be translated into all merciful, while Rahim can be rendered as the bestower of abundant mercy. And there's more to notice about these two divine attributes. Both, you see, are modified by the definite article al. So we have al-Rahman and al-Rahim. This, however, has been a trap to a majority of translators of the Qur'an who have conveyed this definite article from Arabic into its pseudo-equivalent in English, thereby translating Ar-Rahman, for example, into the Merciful. This is while it is a matter of a fact in English that the Merciful means all the people who are merciful. As when we say the blind, the poor, or the rich, whereby we refer to all people to whom a certain attribute applies. A clear example of this from the Bible of Matthew 5:7 says, "Blessed are the merciful, for they will be shown mercy. Blessed are the merciful, for they, the Merciful is they. In Arabic, though, the use of the definite article signifies something totally different. Allah is not only described as being Rahman and Rahim, rather He is Al-Rahman and Al-Rahim. And according to the rules of Arabic, the definite article al preceding singular adjectives, as in the case of both attributes at hand, explicitly limits each of the two adjectives here of being exceedingly merciful to Allah's divine being alone. So, through the attachment of the definite article, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is denotatively described as being the one and only who is all merciful and the only true bestower of abundant mercy. Beyond this point, many Qur'an exegetes and scholars acknowledge a further distinction between the two attributes, stating that our Lord is all merciful towards the whole of creation, the heavens and on earth, while He is the bestower of abundant mercy, especially upon His sincerely righteous slaves. Now, let's see how this elaborate understanding of the Basmala is illustrated in my translation. Without need to read the whole thing for now, let's just pick what I call the sub-basic, near literal meaning which appears in this text typed in black italics. This goes with the name of Allah, the one who is all merciful, the bestower of abundant mercy. But this again provides less than the basic meaning that the language of the text actually says to a native Arabic speaker. For this usage of the English preposition with, especially in this initial position, to consider but one example from the present phrase, this usage is uncommon, and the meaning that the phrase bears in English is hence ambiguous. And this is a general case in the translation of the Qur'an. When trying to uselessly imitate the succinctness of the Qur'anic style, as by hoping to find direct, absolute equivalents of Arabic vocabulary in other languages to which the meaning of the Qur'an is sought to be rendered. Thus, in order to understand what the Qur'an actually says, it is never sufficient to take the near literal level of translation on its own. Instead, to get the bare basic meaning that a native Arabic speaker instinctively understands, we need by all means to read the text in maroon italics, which conveys denotative implications and commonly understood connotations, together with the text in black italics. So we read, commencing with the blessings of the name of Allah, the one and only rightful deity, the one and only who is all merciful, the only true bestower of abundant mercy. And beyond this, we may prefer to read the whole text of the translation so as to better capture the full meaning of the Basmala, inclusive of the additional meditative and cohesive content. Thus, the final rendition of the Basmala would read, commencing with supplication for the attainment of the blessings of the holiest and most glorious name of Allah, the one and only rightful deity, the one and only who is all merciful towards the totality of creation, the only true bestower of abundant mercy, especially towards his dutiful slaves. To conclude, if one complains that this rendering of the Basmala is too long to learn and say before reading the Qur'an or undertaking actions, it needs to be clarified that my translation is only meant to make non-Arabic speaking Muslims familiar with the rich meanings that the Basmala bears. For neither this translation nor any other translation, bear in mind, should ever be considered a substitute for any revealed text, including the Basmala. Therefore, the only right thing to do before starting to read the Qur'an or undertaking an action is but to bear the accurate meaning of the Basmala in mind as we have explained it, while saying it in Arabic as Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim.